Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum, and they're joining us right now. It's a political analyst, political affairs commentator to crown it all up. He is a legal practitioner, a very vibrant youth. Join me to welcome Barrister Gabriel Ehigiato. I almost called you Angel Gabriel.
Thank you so much, Missy, for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Now, I believe that you're observing the trend that is happening right now between Russia and Ukraine.
Yes.
And of course, you know also about the weapons supplied to the Ukrainians to defend their territory, but they say that they want to go on counter-offensive, which they are on right now. What do you have to say about all these arrangements?
Well, it's getting more interesting. We know how a war starts, but we do not know how it will end. What we thought was going to take just a few months. And of course, by the intervention of the United Nations, even the NATO, that officially seems to be the reasons for the income of the war. We thought it was a war that would go ravage within 2-3 months, and that would be all. But we are surprised and shocked that you see a war that is still lingering even to this extent. Ukraine have done well. When you drive a goat to the wall, the goat have no choice than to reform back, and even back if possible. And that's what Ukraine is doing. Ukraine had to retaliate. They had to defend themselves. Because Russia have done more damage to the Ukraine soldiers. As a matter of fact, it has even shown that Ukraine have even lost more soldiers compared to the Russian defense army. So, for us, I think Ukraine has no choice because Ukraine have been abandoned in the wilderness to struggle for their own life. The United Nations is not to be interested. International organizations and associations is not to be interested in the war between Ukraine and Russia. And Ukraine have no choice than to retaliate. As we are talking, sir, Ukraine have reclaimed about 6 to 7 villages, especially villages that are very close to the eastern Donetsk region of Ukraine.
All right, Barrister Gabriel, you talked about Ukrainians occupying 6 to 7 villages compared to the cities sacked by Russian troops.
No. That is a progress. Take it or leave it. They are making progress. We have never heard of the Ukrainians taking over their territory back. It has been the Russian military base, even planning, structures in the Ukrainian cities. So for Ukraine to have gone to this extent, it shows that they know what they are doing. It shows that they build up their self-defense. And you can see the number of soldiers that the Russians have lost. Even Putin is crying already that the Russians have lost more soldiers than the first quarter of the war when it initially started.
Yeah, but people are like saying that Russia is pummeling Ukraine. When you talk about the cities that have been devastated by the Russians, don't forget about the dam that was destroyed.
All of these are just media hype. All of these are just media hype. If you have been following the analysis, I listened to a deputy minister for defense of Ukraine, Alan Malek, some days ago, and he gave an analysis of the structure, the mechanism that we put together that the Ukrainian government will defeat an attack and create a defensive attack to the Russian government, to the Russian military base. They've actually done well for themselves. Even if it's just a little cities, a little coastal region, they're able to take over. But they are making progress. We want to salute their courage. Personally, I want to salute their courage. Because we are surprised that United Nations, international organizations, are seen to abandon them, even up to this extent. There have been no comment from them, even not from the US. And the way people say, Russia is even having more support and more partnership. A few days ago, Russia started interacting with Indians, which is to be their lover cities. That's what attending to Indians, and Indians are responding to them. We will not be surprised in a few times from now, there will be more supply of arms and ammunition to Russia, just to put up a support. So for Ukraine to have got to this extent, reclaiming their coastal regions, reclaiming the most important parts of their city, I think we should give them a salute.
All right, now let's take a look at the situation on the dam, because they took out a major dam, and of course one also is being threatened right now, and Ukrainians are saying this is an act they liken it to a war crime.
Yes.
Now, Russia is taking out that dam that overran a particular, how will I put it now, city or village. Would you consider that a war crime or the act of war?
It's an act of war. It's not a war crime. It will be too late for Russia or Putin himself to be alleged of committing a war crime now. I mean, it will be too late because a lot of Ukraine investment, natural investment, have been destroyed. So there's actually nothing there again. And that's why Ukraine forces are trying to retaliate. We would have expected by now the whole war from the beginning. If you take a look, Winston, when this war started last year, at the end of last year, the Russians were no longer in support of this war. They advised their president Putin to put all their hands down. That they were no longer in support of the war, they were no longer interested in the war. But we are surprised at the beginning of this year. When you look at the voting system of Russia in regards to giving support to the war, it went so high. The Russians were more interested in the war. And that boosts the morale of the Russian defense force. So we are not surprised that the Ukraine have taken their destiny into their own hands. And they are trying to put up a defense, and they are very serious about it. If they continue in this angle, which they started, even if it is just Somalia's coastal regions they are able to reclaim, but if they continue in that pedestal, if they continue in that line, in the next few weeks, they will claim other regions.
All right, can you really attribute this to the weapons given to the Ukrainians by NATO forces and, of course, some countries around Europe?
Of course, it is the evidence of the support they've gotten so far. But what we are saying is not just enough to give Ukraine weapons of mass destruction or ballistic missiles or what have you. All of these are just moral support. But what about the intention behind it? The intention behind it. Because if you look at the time NATO actually supported Ukraine against Russia, I mean, it was too late. This was what they should have done at the beginning of the war issue. But they abandoned Ukraine, to their own test. And now, it is not they are trying to support them, it is not they are trying to make some progress, and NATO is trying to also claim glory of the progress that Ukraine is making. I mean, it's not enough. We expect them to have responded, or not before now. Not at this very critical time. But be that as it may, the Ukraine forces are ready. There's another batch of military forces that is going to come, to replace those who are ready in the battlefield, and they are seriously ready. They are training themselves, and I think we should commend them for that.
But still, according to the report, Ukrainians, they've lost a lot of soldiers. People are wondering, where are these ones coming from?
Oh, that's the
question right now. Where are they coming from?
No, that's the question. If you say Ukraine have lost a lot, so I told you that it is media propaganda. What happened to the Russians? The Russians are also losing their soldiers. The Russians are also losing soldiers, and that's what Putin is crying. And that's why the support Putin is even having is reducing by the day. The Russians seem not to be interested again in the war. The same Russians who at the beginning of 2023 were very much interested in the war. The same Russians telling their president, we are not getting interested in this war. Because they have lost more than they expected. They never expect that the Ukrainian forces will do more, more defense job. They never expect that they're going to put on more defense attack. And that's what is happening now. So the Russians are even tired of the war. Because there's no peace. A man who is in war can never have peace. And that's what's happening. So what we expect now is that this should be a better opportunity for diplomatic analysis. For the two countries to come together and let everybody bring out their hands and let the international organization. That's sad though.
But some are saying it's too late for diplomacy right now.
It's not too late,
sir. Fight to finish.
It's not too late, sir. It's not too late. The both sides of the divide have lost in terms of human resources, in terms of investment and what have you. So this is a better opportunity. We expect that by now, international organizations, another well-meaning international personality well respected over the world, should have come together and call the president of both countries, to come to a round table and let them have a discussion on how to resolve this issue amicably. But the way it is, For their body language, nobody seems to be interested at all in this war. So it is the two dramatic precedents, which is Russia and the Ukraine. And that have also gone further to affect their economic relationship with other countries. I mean, they have neighbors like Poland and other countries, which have been so, you know, for example, Ukraine is so well known in agricultural production. But when you look at their internal generated revenue, it has actually even dropped, just simply because of the war. War is not beautiful, we see. It's not at all. So, but we expect that United Nations, NATO, and other international organizations should come together. And everybody should put their hands together and see how to resolve this crisis. If not, it's going to linger the more.
All right, now you talked about Ukraine standing alone at the beginning.
Yeah.
You said it's like other nations, other countries, even NATO, they've abandoned Ukraine. It's like they're just alone. Now, this is the comment also of so many other persons observing the war. This assertion, is there an element of truth in it?
What actually happened was that the NATO supplied arms to Ukraine, but there were no human resources. They didn't send soldiers down. There was nobody who could have joined, no soldiers of other countries that were able to join the Ukraine to fight the Russians. They only supplied them weapons. I mean that is not good enough, even if it is commendable, but not very good enough. So we expect that countries who are members of NATO should be at the front of the war. I mean, what is the essence of joining NATO if they cannot defend their members? Then what is the essence? And do not forget, it is because Ukraine wanted to join NATO that actually caused this crisis. And in fact, they joined. Now NATO is here trying to play the game of a rescuer, supplying arms and ammunition to them, and do not, join their defense. I mean, that is not commendable. If NATO actually believe in their objectives, which they will set up, we expect that NATO will be at the front row of this battle.
You just hold on now. We'll come back to you after this, because you said NATO ought to be at the forefront of this battle. Don't forget the threat by Russia. If we see any direct interference from any country, that country will not be spared. We'll analyze this threat also by Russia. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. Taking a look at the Russian-Ukraine war, the Ukrainians' offensive. With me here in the studio, he is a legal practitioner, barrister Gabriel Ehigiato. Before we went on, we talked about NATO. People supplying weapons should also supply manpower.
Yes.
But I don't think that will provoke the Russians to take excessive action that may lead to the world war they're probably trying to avoid.
The question is Russia bigger than NATO? By the time we put NATO all together with the membership countries and look at the level of weapons NATO have gathered. NATO is an international organization. It's not a one-man country. It's not a one-man organization. Can Russia actually defeat NATO? I just think that Russia is overhead. Yeah, and leave a past record. Because I expect NATO to be at the first stage of this war.
But won't that lead to world war? Don't get at Russia also, they have their own ally.
Yeah, of course, they have their own ally. They have the highest membership of India. But they are few compared to NATO. Because Russia is almost in every story. Russia is almost having issue with other countries. Russia and Great Britain are not in good terms. I mean, just name it. We can go on and go on and go on. Russia at a time have challenged the US a couple of times. So the only close line to Russia is either India or the North Korea.
No, India, North Korea, China, just name it.
All of these are the normal devils that we know. The North Korea, the China, these are the purposely devils. But have always been dictators of evil.
Hold on, North Korea and China, even India and South Africa, because they're member of BRICS, they may not agree that they are devils. They protect their own territorial integrity. After all, what led to the war is because they told Ukraine, do not join NATO because of our own territorial integrity.
And everybody has the right of association. So, Ukraine is a nation that has its own sovereignty. It's a sovereign nation. They have their own standard of oppression. They have a government. So they are free to join any association they want to join. It is just simply because over time, Ukraine unknowingly are paying loyalty to Russia. If not, there's no reason for all of this war. Russia is trying to blaze up ego. with the ego mad here, Putin, trying to do more to prove himself and prove his sovereignty. Ordinarily, there's no need for this war. When Russia joined NATO, it is that you do not do business with them again, or you call them off, or you redraft the international agreement you have with Ukraine. So at the beginning, sir, there was no need for this war. But now that the war has started, it's almost tearing the whole nations apart. Then everybody has no choice to put off a fight. And I want to go back to the step that the Ukrainian government are taking in making sure that they are putting up a very defensive counter to the Russia. And I think it's a good one. We should salute their courage. If at all they are having weapons that were supplied to them by the Almighty NATO without human capacity, and I think we should give them a salute. They've actually done well.
But some are saying this offensive is just effort and futility, that they cannot withstand the firepower of Russia.
But they are claiming their territory.
7 villages they collected.
But they are claiming their territory, sir.
It is like saying that we have a city and you just take 1 or 2 or 3 from the outskirts of the city they've occupied. That is no victory.
They are claiming their cities back. This is not the tip of the iceberg. They are claiming that
7 villages out of the whole eastern region.
Within few days, sir. Just within few days, they've done well for themselves. They've been able to reclaim some very important part of their land. The eastern Donetsk is a well-known region in Ukraine. Fertile and have all the resources and mineral resources and what have you. And they've been able to reclaim those coastal regions. And I think we should give them a salute. There are people fighting one on their own.
The question now is,
necessary support.
Have they really reclaimed it, or the counter-offensive is still on? They said their presence right now is in these 7 villages.
Yes.
And the Russians are saying, look, you do not have right about these villages. Don't forget it's about offense, counter-offense. That's what is happening right now.
Yes.
Someone say, look, all these you guys are pushing forward, pushing backward. The Russians, they are there already. And this is an effort in futility.
But since the Ukraine government took over, the Ukraine military force took over, the Russian force are nowhere to be found. It's not an issue of going front and going backward. It's not an issue of fighting and running away. It's an issue that, as some people talking to you, the Ukrainian military force are already building their military base.
And Russia did that also. And Russia did that also.
But Russia is not there. If they were there, how come Ukraine are building their base already? I just think that the media, I would say the media are over, hyping the Russian military forces. It is clear. It is clear. If you look at the speech that was given by defense minister, deputy defense minister, you will agree with me that the Ukrainians are actually doing well. They've taken over 6 major regions, 6 major cities, which were initially taken by the Russian forces. They're reclaiming it back. They are seeing, training other military forces, military personnel, as a backup, as reserve, to face the Russia. All of these are being done by the Ukraine alone. They are being done by the Ukrainian government alone. So you're saying there's no capacity, there's no human capacity support for NATO, neither for Poland or any other of their neighbors countries. So they are just fighting their battle alone. And I think we should salute them for such that. We should.
All right. Are you not saying that the counter-offensive is not an effort of futility?
Not
That's
at all.
something to come out of it?
Not at all. It's a good start.
Do you think that for the way they are going to reclaim their territory?
Exactly. It's a good start.
In what ways has it going to happen?
Well, it's a good start, sir.
Because according to report, they are outmanned, they are outnumbered, they are overgunned. I mean, it's like nothing is working for them right now.
For months, the Russian military base took over those regions. For months. Even when there were allegations of Russia secretly getting supply of weapons from other countries. We know Russia to be done when it comes to weapon manufacturing. But they also have support from others. Exactly from Indians. Because they have only over time have good, rapport and good relationship.
But more the Prime Minister of India is actually like the president right now said, look,
we are neutral in this war.
They are not neutral.
He was even asked a question about the war. He said, look, I'm not here to talk about the war. We want peace. We're not supposed of the war. They should look for a way to amicably settle this dispute. So why would you not allege that the Indians are supplying Russia's weapons?
But his statement, sir, never countered that of Putin. You know, Putin is a man who has so much ego. And he's a man who can say anything one will say without any form of attack or you know, repugnancy or what have you. Putin said it clearly. They are systematically in support of Indians. So what the Indian Prime Minister was doing was state managed. So I wouldn't consider this anything. If the kind of support Russia is having internally is what Ukraine is also having, I think Ukraine should have done better.
But for reports and record, Ukrainians are getting more and more support. Their weapons, they are getting more and more sophisticated.
Yes.
People are beginning to learn how to operate these weapons, and they are saying that in time, they will do something.
Exactly.
But others are saying, no, this is just, how would I put it now, effort in futility. But take a look at the destruction.
Yeah, you may look at it as taking a cup of water from the ocean. The effort of Ukraine. But I'm telling you that if you look at the time frame in which the Russian forces took over those territories that have been reclaimed by Russia, it was a very long time, sir. But now that Ukraine have come up to take their stand, fighting and creating a counter, you know, offensive defense to the east offensive defense to the Russian military, you see that is commendable. That is commendable. It's a good start. And I mean, it's a good way to actually start. And I'm telling you, if Ukraine continues this limelight, then they are going to be in a better form. Because what we are seeing now is that Ukraine is actually fighting alone. Upon the weapons they got from NATO. I mean, peacekeeping.
So why would you say they're fighting alone?
No,
for what you agreed to, they were given weapons by NATO. You have Poland, you have Germany, you have UK, you have even the US supplying Ukrainians with weapons. So why would you say they're fighting alone?
If I supply you weapons without being physically present, to join you using those weapons, or to teach you how to use weapons, it's as good as not doing any good at all. It's as good as that. And so what they did is commendable, but it's not good enough. The word not good enough, underline, it's not good enough. We expect NATO. I will claim membership of Ukraine, being a member of NATO. But we expect them to be at the first stage of this election.
They are in the process of becoming a member. They're not member yet. That's what they said right now.
No, but they are not members yet. Intended members.
But all their actions,
and they receive the benefit of membership. Yes. So we expect that NATO should be at the first stage of this war.
But according to reports, NATO is being careful. They don't want to spark off war.
If you say NATO is being careful,
don't forget about Putin trade that if it gets so much, it's going to use the nuke. And the nuclear weapon is pointing towards the West and, of course, Ukraine. Yes. I think that should call for caution when we talk about NATO, US and their allies.
US will never fight a battle when they do not have any interest. That is US for you. When US military forces are coming to your country to help you fight a battle or whatever, they have interest. There must be an interest. And they have did it to, they did it to Saddam Hussein. They have done it to a lot of countries. They must have an interest. So US can't just come out and say, let me support Ukraine. What are they going to gain? Over time, we'll look at their business transactions, their international treaties.
Are you talking about in terms of sending military personnel to Ukraine?
Yes, I'm talking about that. Because US should have able to done that even on their own, without the permission of United Nations. US should have able to do that. But nobody's doing that at all. Germany is not even saying anything. If Germany is doing as if, Sweden, you can see what's even happening in Sweden. They are behaving as if they don't even know if there's any war at all. So that's the problem. But the question I want to bring to the table is this. A large number of Europe nations get their oil from Russia and their supply. Because Russian oil, crude oil, is one of the best in the world. Assuming it was the other way around, that was Ukraine who has this deposit of oil, and other neighboring countries need to buy from Ukraine. Are you sure the European nations will actually be looking at Russia destroying Ukraine? The issue is no. So it's as good as what do you have to offer. So for NATO to even on their own supply weapons to Ukraine in order to put up a counter is commendable, but not good enough. Because we expect that NATO, having claimed membership of Ukraine being their member, to be at the front stage of this war. Then they're going to cause a third world war or a fourth world war or whatever. But we expect that there should be, a move. Maybe that will actually bring all of them back to the table and say, let's discuss, let's resolve this issue. Russia, Ukraine, what is actually the issue? What is the problem? But the way they are, they just gave Ukraine weapons and say, go and fight, we are with you, we are praying for you, and that's all. It's not done like that. These are not part of the objectives of NATO, except NATO is not saying that this is the purpose they were established as an organization. We expect NATO should do more than that. So look and see, this is not the NATO we read in books those days. Look at it, this is not the NATO we read on page of newspapers. Because the way the media will read those organizations, you will think they are one very superpower. But now it shows that Russia is even threatening. It's threatening the constitutional provisions that set up NATO. And that's what Russia is doing. Russia is trying to rubbish NATO. I make you look and see it's just a mere social organization.
But Russia is opinion that NATO is US and US is NATO. They don't want any neighboring countries close to them to be members of NATO. Are you going to blame them for protecting their own territorial integrity? You say Russia is trying to rubbish what NATO stands for.
Yes.
But they are saying, look, we are protecting our territorial integrity because the West is becoming overbearing and overreaching.
So you try to protect your territory. Does that not give you right to stand on other man's right? That's what is happening. When you are trying to protect your right, because when your right stops, other man's will continue. And that's what is happening here. Nobody is telling Russia, do not protect your territory. Do not build your military base around the coastal region of your country and even other neighboring countries. But allow Ukraine to be. Allow them have their sovereignty. It wasn't today Ukraine has sovereignty that even Russia is, because of our. It's only noted. Ukraine has their sovereignty long ago, and Russia was put on notice. So we expect that Russia, in as much are trying to protect our military sovereignty and the base, but you should respect the right of Ukraine. Ukraine have right. If they want to even join the African Union, if possible. No, if possible, they want to join the African Union.
Yeah.
They have right to do that. So I see why, I don't know why Russia is trying to oppress. To me, this is an oppression.
Oppression?
Yeah, they are trying to oppress Ukraine. Because Russia is not the only country in the world, sir. It's not the only superpower country in the world who has military base, who protect their military base. We also mention of North Korea, China, even the US. All of these are military bases, even in other countries. They do have their military base there. So this is not the first time. So we wonder why Russia is trying to protect everything they can protect to the extent that even stampede on other countries' right. That is not right. And that is what we expect. And we'll start asking questions. What is the essence of setting up NATO? What is the essence of setting up the United Nations Organization? What are their objectives? Where are the treaties? The international treaties that bind countries together as members. This is where you start asking those questions. But nobody is talking about that. Nobody is interested in whatever is happening between Russia and Ukraine. We are just closing our hands, folding our hands, and closing our eyes and looking at the whole scenario. It's not good. Just the way you say, yes, these are issues that can lead to another rampage of world war. Another rampage of world war. But be that as it may, I am of the opinion that NATO should be at the first stage of this war.
NATO being at the fourth stage of this war, it's like, for what they said, they've supplied their weapons, and that is the best they can do, because bringing in personnel, that may just get so personal. And of course, Peter did warn them that if you go directly involved in this, definitely there will be a fallout, and the fallout will be so great on these nations that it may just accumulate into world war. From your own analysis,
yes,
from your own projection, Ukrainians, whether they are on the offensive, despite the fact that Russians though they are denying it, blew up the dam. They are saying they're not the one. Okay, say, look, Russia, you guys are the ones that blew up this dam. Russia saying, no, they didn't do anything to your dam. What happened to your dam? That is your own business. Do you see Ukrainians conquering, recapturing more lands being occupied right now in the Donbass region?
Yes, of course. Of course. The Ukraine seems to be on a better pedestal. And we see them reclaiming more territories. If they continue at this stage, they continue at this realm they are going to reclaim more land. They are going to reclaim one of their most important regions. Of course, we'd also expect that Russia should actually destroy Ukraine down. I mean, that will actually be bridging the international code that guide nations together. You know, that we have to do with putting big charge for crime against humanity. But we expect that more support should come in for Ukraine.
How much support do they want?
More support, they need support from NATO.
They're giving you weapons, giving you...
Weapons is going on, the human capacity is needed.
But that is provoking Russia.
Provoke them.
And that is what NATO is afraid of, to provoke Russia.
To provoke what you mean is that NATO is not scared of Russia. NATO is not scared of Russia. I think NATO is not scared. NATO have their reason why they actually keep it quiet, even when we do not actually know. They have their reason for that. I mean, Russia cannot destroy the whole world. If you even come to a world war, only Russia cannot destroy all of us.
What about the nuclear arsenal?
I mean, other nations have nuclear arsenal. America has their own.
Good. Now, if Russia release their nuclear arsenal, release their own nuclear arsenal, that means the world is finished.
How many nuclear weapons does Russia even have? If we go to details, if not for the support, the underground support that the North Korea, that the China are giving to Russia, that's why I call them the already existing devils. We are giving to Russia. Will Russia be so magnified and you know, pumping that they can even do more than what we expect of them? None at all. If Ukraine is getting the same support that Russia is getting, and that's what we expect NATO to do now.
So you want NATO to come into the war?
Exactly. Because it's clear that Russia already having their support. Even when the Indian Prime Minister is saying otherwise. But his body language shows that is with Russia. Of course, North Korea have even said it over time. China have showed it that they are with Russia in this war. So how come that it is only our very beloved Ukraine that is fighting alone? So I think they need the support. Supplying their weapons is not enough. They need human support. They need human capacity. They need NATO to come out and tell their members, let's come out for these guys. They are our members. They are part of us. Even if they are not fully be initiated and indoctrinated as a member of NATO, but they are attending members and they already enjoy the benefit. If you are saying they are not enjoying the benefit yet because they are not members, how come the same NATO supply Ukraine weapons? So it shows that they are already members by their body language. So we expect that NATO should be at the front stage of this war, of this battle. Maybe that means
indirectly you're saying the US should be in the forefront of the battle.
No, stop calling US.
Because hold up, someone saying the US is the one pushing NATO. US is the one financial NATO. They are the greatest.
Why are we calling US?
Financier of NATO.
It's just like saying Nigeria. It's just like saying Nigeria is it should be at the front stage of the war. Even if Nigeria is a very well-known member of the African Union or the ECOWAS per se. That is what US is. US is a big name on a big jersey there.
And supplying NATO with enough force to sustain all the expansion
across Europe. US are not supplying NATO now. It is NATO that is supplying Ukraine.
But right now, US is the main financier of NATO. Don't forget that Donald Trump got angry once upon a time and pulled out of finance of the money the US is pumping into NATO.
Yes.
Until Biden stepped in and it was like, reestablished to support NATO with millions of dollars. When you talk about weapons, tactics, you just name it.
Yes.
And you're saying that they should be for that. But US indirectly, you're saying should be for the war. And that might lead to
over time, we have our countries who are the biggest financier of the organization. Nigeria is one of the biggest financier of ECOWAS. One of the biggest of ECOWAS. So we can't take that away. So
right.
I don't want us to start mentioning US. Instead, let's mention NATO.
Thank you so much. Our time is up. People are watching. I'm like, if you, they just should call me. That means you're just already in the war. That means it's a world war, and they just go out of control. You never can tell. Well,
yes.
We keep on watching right now because the Ukrainians, they are on the offensive. They've captured 7 villages out of how many cities now in the next region. Some are saying it's a plus. Others are saying, look, this is just effort of futility. But Barrister Gabriel Yegeto says, look, it's high time NATO supported this campaign by bringing in military personnel to man those weapons given to Ukraine. What do you feel about that? Putting what Putin said on the table, said, if you come directly, we'll face you directly. Anyway, do it again next week Tuesday. God willing. Bye for now.